Okay, so perfect. Yes, today is Moxie Engage 201, so basically part 2. Yesterday, the first session would have showed you how to get contacts into your Moxie system so you can utilize them. And then it also showed you how to filter out or group them into groups so that way they're ready to kind of go on the fly. And there were a couple other simple things they talked about yesterday. Now today, the difference in 201, so part 2, is now we're going to actually focus on when your client is in Moxie Engage, which is your CRM, your client relationship management tool, what you do with them to work them as far as your sales flow, your order of business. And the benefit to Moxie Engage is that we can utilize this system when they're a brand new Sphere contact. So basically maybe someone you've never met yet, someone you just have their email from or just ran into at Starbucks. And you can run them into a full sales flow all the way to a finished deal. And for those who are in Michigan and Ohio, we have it connected to Dot Loop as well. I'm going to show you that. I'll go through all of that today, but it actually takes you through to completion of a completed deal as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here, and then we're going to jump right into Moxie Engage. You'll be able to see everything as I'm talking about it. Please ask questions as you need to as we go as well. That way I can make sure we answer and address everything while you have me online today. Please confirm that you can now see my Moxie Engage screen. Perfect. Okay, thank you. So again, Engage, that's your engagement tool, right? That's the platform where you're going to not only be communicating with your client verbally, but you're also going to be sending them things in the form of communications, newsletters, e-letters. We also have a campaign center with some campaigns in there, so you can kind of have a drip campaign, so you can kind of be in front of them throughout the year as well, because not everybody's ready today to buy. We want to make sure that you're the resource point that they see during the year until they are. So what we're looking at now is Moxie. As you guys already know, you would go ahead and log into Moxie. And then again, in 101, we showed you how to get your contacts in there. Today, we're going to focus on the top section. So if you notice the top navigation bar where it says Engage, we are going to jump into there. But before I do, I want to show you a very quick thing that's kind of a one-time set it, forget it, that has some built-in integrations to make sure your Engage system works properly and also has the right information. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure you're in your My Account section. Basically, regardless of what page it lands you on when you log into Moxie, if you click on your profile icon or your picture icon, your agent icon in the top right-hand corner, it's going to let you click on My Account. When you do that, it's going to load this page here. Now, I want you to realize this is kind of the hub. All of your information stems from here. So your phone number, your email, your address, your photo. If you put it here first, it will then go out to present, which is actually your presentation tool. So your listing presentation, your buyer presentation, your seller presentation, maybe your personal presentation. It goes to that location. It also feeds out to Engage, so all your communications and newsletters have the correct information. And it also jumps out and feeds into your website, so you have all of your contact information there as well. So the beauty of it is you're just making sure it's correct in this one location. And then from here on out, it will always be sufficiently correct on all of your marketing and everything that you send out. The only thing you're going to do in this one quick section is just to make sure what's in here is right. You might be utilizing a different email address as far as what you want to have on marketing than maybe the email that you check all the time for the company. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on very quickly these 3 sections: personal info, contact info, and web info. Very simply, all you're doing is just running your eyes through each section to make sure what you see is what you're going to want your potential client to see. So as a perfect example, I've clicked on contact info. You can notice here that we have different emails located. This first one says primary, okay? So this is what I have in my Moxie system as communication points. So if we're going to communicate with you, Moxie is through the system, it's going to go to this email. My display email, exactly that. It's literally the email that's going to show up on my marketing campaigns, on my emails, on my correspondence, website, everything. So if your display email, for example, if I was maybe Elizabeth Glass at somethingelse.com and I wanted to show that instead of what's here, I would make sure that I change it in this location so that it's correct everywhere else. And I'll show you how to do that in 1 second. Now, the last portion here, the Moxie sync email, that is the email that is in Moxie, and it is the email that is connected to your contacts. So in this particular situation, my Moxie sync email, so the email Moxie is connected or synced with, is this right here, elizabeth.glass@cbschmidtohio.com. What that means, as you learned in yesterday's session, this email, when I log into it, I'll show you right now. Here's my email that is that email. If I were then to jump into the little Google Apps in the top right and put my contacts in here, in this email, what will wonderfully happen is it will automatically sync and be inside Moxie Engage for me to utilize and access. Now, maybe this isn't the email that you utilize all the time, and maybe it's not the one you put contacts in. That's okay. We do prefer you use company provided because there's a lot of security measures for you and your clients in there. However, if you do have a different one in here, it's a very simple and easy fix. We just contact Moxie and we give them your other email. They can connect that for you. The only stipulation is it does have to be a Gmail for it to work correctly. So very simply put, this email, the CB Schmidt, Ohio, your CB Great Lakes, your CB Florida Homes, even though it doesn't say Gmail, it's technically a Gmail account. So that's why that's okay. But if I had, let's say, elizabethglass@gmail.com, it is also a Gmail, which works with this system. So I would just simply contact Moxie and I would state, please change my Moxie sync email to elizabethglass@gmail.com. Then what would happen is all my contacts in that email would then sync to Moxie here, and I'd be able to pull and use them for correspondence in all my presentations and campaigns as well. If you want to go ahead and unlock any of these three sections here, it's simple. You just click on this little blue pencil in the upper right-hand corner. It does open and unlock all three sections. So very easily, you can, just like you would anywhere in an email or Microsoft Word, highlight this and change it to whatever you would like it to be. So you're able just to do that. And then make sure at the top on the right, if you notice there's a save option, please click that or it will not save your change. So very simple. But I also want you guys, while you're in here and it's opened, it doesn't hurt while you're doing this. Do you have the rest of it filled out? Maybe you've never taken the time to put in your direct phone number, your fax number, your extension, a backup email. So here's a perfect example of what you guys as realtors would want to do. Make sure you have a backup email. Maybe it's your Yahoo or AOL. That way, if you have, lost the access to this one, you can get into it. We also have, if you put an email in here, it's used by Lead Router for new leads that come from Moxie Word products. So if you have a specific email you want your leads to come through, make sure you enter it here. Now, under the web information section, this is where your bio goes. We have a whole different topic conversation training on bios. And if you haven't done it yet, please know it's one of the most important things you can do for any marketing, whether it's social media, campaigns, newsletters, anything, website. If you haven't done it yet, please do it now and connect with either your ASC, your manager, maybe somebody on your training team. And we also have those on the marketing team that will also help you to formulate that biography so you don't have to worry about it if maybe you're not the best of writing skills. We can definitely accommodate and help you with that. I also want to make sure you guys take a quick second in this account profile section to make sure your website, social media, etc. is plugged in here. Again, when you're putting it in this My Account section, you're doing it this one time, then we're going to go into Engage and it's all going to show up on your correspondences. So of course, we call it connective marketing. We want your website to connect to your social media. We want your campaigns to connect to both of those. And ultimately, we want it to be a full circle. So if you add it here, it will stem out to Present, Engage, and My Websites as well. So that's it as far as the profile section in My Account. There's one other area that I want to showcase very quickly because it's a connective tool that helps us with Engage. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel so I'm not making any changes. What I want you to do, please, take your eyes to the left. So on this navigation bar, we're still in the My Account section, but we have different segments here. I'm going to go ahead and collapse or minimize My Account. And I want you guys to see that you have an Agent Tools option. Again, you probably have already done this, or maybe your ASC has done this for you, so I apologize, but just a very quick notation here just to show you because it will help your product work correctly. What we're going to click on is called Integrated Tools. So we're not just working with Moxie, we're having Moxie work with our other tools and applications. and they connect as well to make a better service provided to you. So as an example, Dot Loop. If you're in a Dot Loop usage area, putting your Dot Loop email here and hitting connect account. What this does is it actually, and then you would just type in your email and your password here for Dot Loop, and you enter it there once. What it does is it actually connects Dot Loop to Moxie Engage. So that way, when you're in there and you're actually working your transaction, it will open your Dot Loop account for you and actually create the Dot Loop transaction for you, pull in all that information from Engage, populate it, and get you going. It's really, really cool. You go back to where I was since I closed it out by accident. Integrated tools. Okay, so basically the Dot Loop connection also works with Zillow. So we have both of these as great tool options. Dot Loop at the end of a transaction now also reaches out to your customer when you hit the click button to do so. And it actually allows Dot Loop to say, would you like to leave a review for this agent on Zillow? So it's a wonderful tool that works behind the scenes together. What we're going to do here is we're also going to make sure that you have your email in here that you have at Zillow, which is a free account. You make sure you all have your information there so you can get your leads from Zillow as need be. But when you go ahead and hit edit or hit enable or connect, whichever one yours says, you're going to go ahead and type in your email right here. That is the email that Zillow has. So let me say this clarification between the two. For the Dot Loop integration, you want to make sure it's the company provided Dot Loop account and not your personal account. For example, I've purchased a home before that used Dot Loop, and I have a personal account with my personal email. That is not the one I want to be connected here. The one I want to be connected here is my company provided Dot Loop email account. So that way it's providing the right connection to the right account. Now Zillow has my personal, this is a different agents in here, but for example, Zillow might have your personal email. So make sure that's the one that shows up. What it's going to do for you, regardless of what region you're in, it will actually take all those reviews for you have on Zillow, pull them in. What's really cool is you can show them on your presentations, all the presentations you have, and it also pulls them in and runs them through your website as well. The best news to share is it's a one-way feed. So Zillow gets nothing from you. They don't get your information, your client information, the house information, anything. It's simply just a feed from the testimonials into you. So again, please just take that couple of minutes of time. We're going to go into the My Account section, which I accessed in the upper right-hand corner by clicking on My Account. And then I went under My Account. I made sure that those 3 sections were up to date and correct. And if I had to make any changes at all under these 3 sections, I was going to go ahead and hit that blue edit pencil, and I can then change and edit all 3 of those. The final thing I'm going to do before I jump into Engage for the first time to really work my system, I'm going to click Agent Tools, Integrated Tools, and then make sure Zillow and Dot Loop are connected. So far, that's all we've covered, and it's pretty simple. I'm going to jump into my chat box. I see there is some form of question before I jump into the actual Engage training. So great question, Caroline. What about app files? That is what Florida uses. We've had many a conversation with the account reps at Moxie. We have put in our request for that to happen. So they have alerted us and let us know that that's a behind the scenes transaction, connection and all type of situation, which would require a long time to really get connected. So if and when they are able to do so, they're going to let us know, and then we'll let you guys know right away and hopefully get that implemented as soon as possible. My true honest intention is now that Realogy has joined on, they've kind of put a buffer into what their initial priorities were, because now Realogy as a brand is offering Moxie to all Coldwell bankers. So that's great news, but it might bump that back just a little bit, just in full honesty. So as soon as app files are something that we can integrate in here, we'll let you know right away. Great question. So let's do it. Let's jump in. I want to actually show you a real transaction. We're going to pretend like there's a client customer. You're going to see me go into an agent account. We're going to go right into an actual potential lead, right? So maybe somebody they just met at Starbucks, okay? So they don't have that interaction connection with them yet. Then we're going to jump through and work a sales flow of business so that you can see how it is basically maybe your virtual assistant or your admin to help keep you on track with that one person, tell you what to do and when. To do so, we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on Engage in the top navigational panel. So I'm going to do so, and that's going to load my profile page here, my dashboard. If you're an ASC or a manager, you're going to see that it's going to load you on manager dashboard, which is going to give you your whole office. I'm going to make sure I switch mine to agent mode because that's what you guys are going to see automatically. So you're not going to have to worry about manager mode. Here is my dashboard. So in 101, so part 1 yesterday, they covered what the dashboard implied. The dashboard is a quick review. It's amazing because it's basically your assistant. Based off what you do inside Engage, it will actually tell you who to call each day and what you should do with them. It gives you a quick snapshot of your activity feed. So your clients, customers, sphere, influence, all of those people, all the action and activity that they've done in their individual profiles, it's going to show up here for you as a quick snapshot. So you get a good overview, kind of what happened in the last 24 hours. If I had some to-dos in my to-do list, it would show up here. My calendar, which is very cool, the one that I have connected to my email, that's Moxie sync email, that calendar feeds into Moxie as well. So if I just, in the morning with a cup of coffee, the first thing that I do, if I jump into Moxie Engage right here on this dashboard, I can very quickly get a preview of what my day for business is going to look like. Because number one, I jump in and Moxie Engage tells me who I should contact and what I should do to do that. It also tells me what activities happen. So if all of a sudden I sent out a campaign and I see somebody's opened it or maybe opened it a couple times, or if I sent out a search listing for somebody and I see that they started looking at a lot of houses, this can immediately alert me that maybe I should reach out to them today, right? So we're kind of filling your day out for you. Again, the calendar is connected. So if you're using your calendar, which properly the way we would hope, you're putting your business information in there and also your personal things as well. So that way you get a good overview of your whole day, including what you need for your personal life outside of business. It gives you a very quick snapshot of how many people you have in what sales flow. We're going to go over that in just a minute, what % of your goals are and your listings at the bottom. So that's just the dashboard. If you want more in-depth training on that, we have the training from yesterday that you guys can access and utilize and watch. For today, we're going to jump right into an actual client. We're going to work your order of business like you would every single day. And to do so, I'm going to have you take your eyes to the top left-hand side, please. You're going to see that I've got, maybe let's make it a little bigger for you for the moment. There you go. What we're going to focus on today is the people section and campaigns. These are the two areas of business we're going to go into. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to hover over people and go to my people. This is where your contacts show up and where your order of business is worked. So it's engage, people, my people. Now I've already put contacts into my contacts, so they show up here. I've already grouped them up and give them specific groups. That's all done in yesterday's training. So again, if you need that, please let me know and I'll let you know where that training can be accessed. Now I'm going to go in and say, we're going to work a specific person. We're going to pretend like there is a Beth. I am going to jump into an account that is actually from one of our agents really quick so you can see this full circle. Just so you guys know, I am Elizabeth Glass, but I'm going to be jumping into one of our agents' accounts. So you can actually watch the agent work it and pretend like I'm the client. That way I'll be able to jump right into even my own email as the potential client or the lead. And you get to see it exactly as your potential client would be. I feel like that's the best way to train it, is to see it from both sides, make you feel very comfortable both on the agent side and the client side as well. Okay. Bear with me one second. I'm going to go into, let's do Stephanie today. Here we go. And then I'm going to be Stephanie's potential lead. So we'll pretend maybe Stephanie ran into me at Starbucks and we just exchanged information, and that's kind of it. We want to start at the very beginning. I'm going to go into her My People. So now we're pretending like we are agent Stephanie. Okay, so now she actually, it's right here. Okay, she's actually doing a different role within the company. So she doesn't have all her contacts loaded in here right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you myself as a client in here that I've used for training purposes. as you're noticing what I'm doing, I want you to pretend like you have 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 800 contacts. You don't want to dig. So what you would do if you know who you're looking for, notice how I just typed in even maybe just the first name. It will filter it out for you and give you that one person. So I'm going to give you little tips and tricks like that the whole way through, because for me, efficiency is key. I'm going to be honest. I want you in and out of this technology as quickly as possible so you can spend more time with your actual client and listening to their needs and servicing their needs instead of fiddling around with technology, right? This is great because it does all the work for you. We just have to show you how to do it. So now I'm in Beth. So here's the potential lead. I'm in her individual profile. Uploading her as a contact with her email created this profile for her automatically. That's the great news. But I'm going to dissect this. I want you to really take a look at just the left side. So I know there's a lot going on here, but ignore all of that right now. That's the sales flow. I'm going to dissect the left side, which is the navigation panel, and then we'll jump into that right side so you guys can really see things in a correct order. Great news. Well, honestly, guys, it's pretty simple. So the first section here, this profile section, it's simply that. It's her contact information. So what did I get from her so far? If it's just a Starbucks meeting, it might have just been a phone number or maybe just an email, and that's all that I have. So that's fine. But if I do eventually get more information, this is where it's going to be. Her maybe phone number, her email, her address, her spouse's name, their physical address, all that great stuff. And all I have to do to get it in here, even to update it later, is hit edit. So once I do that, it will open this up for me. So it gives me her information. And what's really cool, this label name right here, that's your group name. So when you uploaded your contacts, let's say you had some that were buyers, you have some were sellers. If you didn't label them then when you uploaded them, you literally can come right here where it says label name and put it in right here. And then it would assign them to that group. So you're still able to do it, after. So we're pretending like she's a potential buyer, or maybe if this is a new lead, we would just put new lead sphere. They don't see this, just you do, but it's for your filtering later on. Some other great things here that as her relationship with Stephanie continues to blossom, you can see in here there's additional things. Her address can be inputted. Does she have an instant messaging option to put in here? A website, maybe add the relationship, add dates. Now this is a cool option here because right now she's just a sphere lead, right? We don't really have a connection with her as far as working a transaction yet. But what if we did, and down the line we sold a house with her, and in a year from now, we want our system to remind us that we did and just send a pretty house anniversary note to her. The date sections, she would be able to jump in here and hit add date. And here's where you would add a birthday, an anniversary, a house anniversary. And very simply, it's really cool because as soon as you add that date in here, it's going to not only add it to your calendar in Moxie, but it adds it to your email calendar as well. So that calendar that's connected to your email, most of you guys have that connected to your phone. So it's going to tell you a year from now that you need to quickly send her a quick note. And there's a section in here in the calendar where all you do is tap a button that says send her a happy anniversary or happy birthday, and it will send it out for you as well. So it can all be pretty automated once you kind of just know where to put things. So that's a cool option to add later on. Again, what if you have their social media, whatever the scenario is? This is where you're going to update the information. Again, we are in her inside profile, and we're literally on the profile tab. To remind you, just as a quick reiteration, if I'm in here and I click profile, it's not going to let me click on it here. The way I edit it is to click this edit button in the top right. Pretty simple. Next is notes. That's self-explanatory. Any notes you might have for them, that's where you would put those. Now, here's where the cool stuff comes in, the nitty-gritty of why we like this. Activity. These two tabs here are very, very intuitive, and I'm telling you, they're going to save you time, and they help you as a realtor, and they help you look like you are on top of things and ahead of the game. So let's take a look. Activity means every activity that happened. As a realtor, it can show when I sent out an email, when I sent out a newsletter. It'll show when I sent out neighborhood news. Maybe when I created a search for them and I sent it out, it's gonna lock all this in, say who did it and what the date was. Now, the beautiful thing is it's gonna also show me Beth's activity, right? I wanna see that interaction because it tells me the level of commitment in her mind where she is. Is she really ready now? Or is she just kind of like getting excited because it's going to be spring, wants to look at houses, and you know what, maybe she's really not going to move till next year. Your activity usage is what's going to really tip you off. So this is going to tell me, for example, let's jump through here. I know she's a new lead, but I've done training with this account before, and I left this here because I wanted you to see what it looks like. Okay. In a previous training, I sent out a neighborhood news, which I'm going to show you in a minute how to do that. But look, guys, that's amazing. It tells me she viewed it. So I'm going to know when Beth's looking at my emails, when she's looking at searches. Here's the key. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to send a search to her. It will actually show me when she's creating her own searches. Why is that relevant? Well, I'll tell you why. Because somebody who's interested in buying a residential property with zero interest in condos, who starts creating searches for condos, all of a sudden you're now tipped off to maybe that their mindset has changed. This is a reality because the market we are in all of our areas basically are very hard to keep things on the market. They're going so quick. So our buyers are having to change the criteria of what they're looking for. This is going to tune you in. Now, if I was Stephanie and I was being really intuitive with this system, working with it, I'm going to see that she's creating a new search result for a new type of property we haven't searched for. She didn't tell me before. I'm going to create that search for her and reach out to her and say, oh, you know, I see you're interested in maybe some condos. Let me do some work for you and find something that's great on the market. Do you see how that's a service without you constantly begging or asking or calling or emailing or texting? This is not supposed to change or remove that connection, that conversation by verbal voice with her. But what it's doing is some of this other stuff behind the scenes, it's cueing us in. So your activity tab is everything you need for a realtor to know the level, especially of the sphere that you're not working with. So if you send out an email campaign to 200 people and you see that 3 of them had activity a couple of times that day or the next day and the next day, you're going to want to call those 3 people and you're going to not really worry too much about the others. So it's taking your time and being effective to talking to the people who are in the mindset for you to talk to them. Make sense? Perfect. So activity tab, that's why that's one of my favorites. Next, faves and saves. We love this. This helps you as a realtor. This helps you as a client sphere, anything. Basically what faves and saves is, this, guys, is where you actually create a search. So if your potential lead or client is looking for a 1-bedroom home in Strongsville, such and such, you actually create it from here instead of the MLS. And I'm going to show you why. And what it does is it sends it to your client on your behalf in the cadence that you would like it to be. It could be once a day. It could be 3 times, once every couple of weeks or whatever the scenario is. And it looks like it's coming from you right then, right? So you're doing your work as the agent, but in reality, the system's doing it for you. That's this. So the difference here with this and the MLS is many different things. Before I jump into that, I'm going to flip over and I'm going to jump into the sphere or a client hat into my email. And I want you to see what a search looks like coming from my realtor and how I can actually tell her what properties I like, which is going to clue her out to what she can do to help me out. It's very, very cool. So let's switch guns here. I'm going to take off my realtor hat. I'm actually going to go in and put on my client hat. Okay. Here's my email. So if you notice, there's one in here from Stephanie. Very simply put, new listings for Strongsville residential. I click it. Here's the best news. It is so user friendly. So now you don't have to worry about those people who are maybe not as technology, advanced. Check this out. Simplicity. Simplicity is key, guys. The least amount of things people have to click, the more likely they are to click through them. And the least information that you're really trying to get from them up front, the more likely they are going to engage with what you're sending them. That's just the fact of what it is today. So if you notice in here, we've got simplistic marketing. Stephanie's in here. You see her photo. All of this comes from that account profile section I told you. But when it comes to the client, look how simple this is. There's literally one button to click. So we're not digging in and doing anything extra or difficult. It's super, super simple. When they click on it, it's going to open something up here. And I know typically if you haven't done so yet, you're probably in your MLS. That's where you get your searches. That's where you've been doing them and sending them to, your clients. There's some benefits here, many benefits to doing it in Moxie over doing it in the MLS. First and foremost, I'm still in my client or potential lead hat, right? So this is what I see. It's very simplistic. And let's be honest, it's kind of set up like a lot of sites would be. You see the properties, you see the area in which the search is searching. And then you've got other criteria that you can filter it out in here. So we're not giving them anything that's real new in technology. What we're doing is making it more simple for them, but giving them some additional advantages if they want to use this system with us. First and foremost, we're going to pretend like we're her. What I would do, what she would do, or anybody would do, okay, I'm looking for kind of a property and I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Now, the benefit is this is live information directly fed from the MLS. So we're not getting any old or outdated information like Zillow or Trulio. We're not having that happen. This is live. Not only is it coming directly from the MLS, it's coming from your website. This is huge. So now on Beth's end, the client's end, or the Sphere leads end, even if I'm not her client yet, I'm just looking, I see this and the only thing that's on my mind is this beautiful house, and let me take a peek. I'm going to jump through here and I'm looking at the photos the same as if I would be on the MLS. I don't lack that interaction. I also have the same capabilities of everything else. See how I have everything I need? I'm able to look at price, beds and bath, schedule a showing, virtual, and this goes to you. This isn't just your client, by the way, virtual tour. So we're not losing the capabilities of not having it be just on the MLS. You have all the same benefits, but here are some benefits additional that you cannot get from the MLS. First of all, take a look at this. When they are somewhere else, Zillow, Trulia, MLS, no matter what you send them, can still lead them to clicking to other places where they see other realtors and other properties. So that's a reality, okay? With this, they keep them with you. You're doing this because you want to be their agent. They're keeping them with you. You really would love to not do all the work for somebody else. So the only information that they have here is Miss Stephanie, even though this isn't her particular house. They can call her, they can email her, and watch. It literally says go to my website, so they can then filter this back into going to her specifically. And we're not worried about her going to someone else, not even just another brokerage, but not just another agent, and just letting them be the buying agent instead of you, right? So that's a huge benefit right here. And it's not in your face. We do very simplistic marketing that works way better than other things that are a little bit more flashy. Okay, so on Beth's end, so the lead or the client's end, she can jump through here and say, oh, I really, truly think this is a potential house. I do like this one. So watch what she has to do. So fast. Favorite. Done. It is now adding it to a favorites list for her, but it's also now telling the realtor that this is one of the favorited properties. So maybe your search result gave 30 properties to her, but if she's only liking 3, now I'm only talking about 3 and maybe only seeing 3, and I'm not wasting my time on all these properties, and these other properties are not having their time wasted for your agent, for your client either. The other thing that they can do here, they can share it. So regardless of what phase they're in inside real estate, if they're brand new or they're a buyer or a seller, regardless, they have this share option on each property that then lets them take a link to this landing page, go straight to Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest, and now post it on their wall. I love this property. This is the house I want. What if, I love this. What if for Beth and her husband, they're looking for a house. You know what? She would take this, she would share it to him or share it to him on Facebook or whatever it is. Honey, look at this house. Isn't it amazing? Then you're now having them do your do marketing for you in a classy way, right? It's just smart marketing. And not only that, but their sphere is now seeing you work for them. You can do less talking when you let your platform that is great do your talking for you. So that's kind of the concept we're in here. This is why from a client standpoint or a lead standpoint, it's not evasive. It's not in your face. You're not asking for the information for their second born child, and they're not going to want to work with you because they don't feel like they want to get a lot of spam information, right? Through their email or phone call. This is simple. They're in the house looking at it, looking through the marketing. That's what they want. We're marketing you very simple. Now, the biggest bonus of all is this. As soon as I noticed this, I got very excited. We are not in the MLS. We're not just somewhere randomly on the internet. We are on Stephanie's website the minute that we open this search portal, okay? Here's the difference. When you send them an MLS search portal, you're having the MLS. So for example, ours is Yes MLS. When someone opens the portal for them, it actually counts as a hit on the website in a positive way. And the more people that go to their website, the more what they call hits or views. And that increases the MLS's SEO, their search engine optimization. When you lead people to your website, that's more hits for you, and you are increasing your search engine optimization, your SEO. So what is that? That is the most beneficial part to any marketing. I don't care how great your site is. I don't care how great you are. No one's going to find you on the internet if you don't have your SEO set up correctly. So what that means is I'm just a random person out there. I do what everyone else in the world does on their phone or iPad or computer. When it's time to look for a property, I go to, let's say, Google or Bing or Yahoo. I type in realtor in Strongsville or realtor in Grand Rapids, realtor in St. Lucie, right? Then those people that I get back, those search results I get back, those are the ones that you want to be a part of. Those are the people that have the highest search engine optimization. That means they have the highest views, the highest usage. Let's put it that way. So if you want your views and your usage and your value to increase so that Bing, Google, Yahoo will put you closer to the top of page one on top, you are going to want to feed people to your website. So in simplicity, you want to be posting your website on your social media feeds. If you have a newsletter, it should go there. If you have an email address, which we all know you do, it should be in your subject line, your signature line. Your marketing needs to feed to your websites, etc. Your social media needs to have your website on it too, but here's just an added benefit. These people are going to search the internet anyway. They're going to be digging and searching and looking for houses. But when you're utilizing through Moxie, you're encouraging them to do it through a site that's better for them because it's more user-friendly, and it's also very visual as well, as you guys can see. This is helping both the analyticals who need the physical information in front of them, and it's helping those who are visual to make decisions. So it helps them out, but it also helps you to increase your SEO so your value becomes higher. Then you have more search results. Then you get more client referrals. Then you get more deals, and then it just spawns and spirals from there. So that's, if not the biggest and best one to pick in there, I would say that alone would be why I would do it over the MLS. Again, you lose nothing, you just have more capabilities to do so. Let me go ahead, and I'm just going to take a quick peek to make sure I don't have any questions in here. Let me see if I can check in here. Nothing yet. Okay, great. If you guys have any questions as we go, continue. But again, we're in here as the potential lead, the potential client. The beauty here is, look what happened. See how it's now favorited or hearted? Well, that's telling me I like this one and I like this one. So the next time I jump in, I can still see those ones in here that I like. And if I'm the lead or the client, I can put in here and say, I love the shower in this property. That's it, and hit save comments. That automatically tells my realtor, you know what? You can find something else that has similarity to this. That would be great. Or I would type in, I would love to see this house. So you're getting that seamless communication, and it's going to send a message to you as the realtor. Now I also I'm empowered here. I have the power to create a change and search. So I tell you this scenario because it happens all the time. I hear clients say, I only want single family residential. A condo is just not what I'm looking for. They get in the market, maybe things are flying off the shelf too quickly, and they start to realize and understand they're probably going to have to change their criteria, right? Maybe it's price, Maybe they have to go down. Maybe they have to go way up right now. So for their standpoint, they're just receiving this from you. So they click on the email. They didn't have to dig or go anywhere, but they can very simply come in here and change the price point, the number of beds and baths. And just like they would have the capability on MLS or Zillow or Trulia or wherever they would land, they can sit here and filter this out to their heart's content. So they would now be able to include condos and townhouses as well. And then they can also, maximize or minimize the filters as see fit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. So I'm now creating in such a separate new search, right? Just so you guys know, on the realtor end, it just is telling me that this is happening so that you're cued in as a realtor, which is really cool. But let's be very specific, okay? Beth, she has children. She has a school district that she really wants to be in. Now it is, the company, we've taken the time to integrate this into Google, okay? So what that means for you guys and your clients, that means we can be as specific as we need to be for those agents and client relationships that are very, very specific of property. So as an example, this is giving me 13 listings. But if I know I need to be in a certain school district, I can very quickly click school district. And then I can choose whether it's a public school and private school, and then select the school I want. And then it's going to take away all the properties not in that district and only give me the ones in that district. You guys are going to have this happen quite often with families with children. Most people, if they have the financial ability, will live where the money is allowing them to live for the school district they want to be in. Now, the next option here is draw. This is utilized constantly. Basically, this is the same exact thing as if you go to your website right now, just so you guys know, it's exactly the same thing. So it's nothing new. It's the same thing we do for Moxie Present to in your presentations. If I wanted a specific area, so let's take a look here. I'm down here on Google Maps. Let me click on this, okay? Click on it, it shows me the property right here. But maybe I only want to be north of this property and I don't want to be anywhere that's south. Sometimes people aren't very visually inclined because they're not familiar with the area, or they just don't want to waste the time digging to see where things are. So if I do quick draw, I'm literally going to draw on the map and say, I only want to be in this area. And then it's going to filter it out for me. And now, as you guys can see, there are 5. Okay. So now it's very easy. I just clicked on draw, and then I draw right on the map, and then it takes away everything that's not inside the circle, and it only gives me the listings that are in that area, making it very simple for me. I'm going to go ahead and hit clear. Now, the same concept is multi-draw. The only difference with that is it's 2 areas of depiction. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit okay. I'm going to say draw, multi-draw. If I did multi-draw, what you would, I'm not going to do right now, but you would be able to say, okay, let's take a look at this little dot here, the orange one. I'd be able to draw a circle and say, I want to be north of 42 and I want to be south of 13. I only want to live in those 2 areas, nothing in between. Multi-draw is going to take away everything else in between and everything not inside those 2 circles and only give me the 2 cities. This happens a lot because maybe there's a freeway, or like as an example in Strongsville, we've got some beautiful, really wealthy houses. Now we've got some residential houses that are standard, and then we've got a commercial area kind of in the middle. So they will be like, I want to be north of the commercial area. I want to be south of the industrial area, but not in between. Multi-draws, we're going to use that option. That gives me a great concept here of a scenario that you probably might happen at some point in your career. There may be a property that is listed industrial or zoned light industrial, but it's really a residential property. And because it's not zoned residential, it's not going to show up in a search for a house. So that, I know that sounds weird, but it happens. So if this is your client, what you do, a perfect example in here, somebody in my family, this is happening to, basically we would be able to do that multi-draw section, and we would be able to filter out for her just her specific area, and that puts her and populates her into that result as well. So this is a great option for you. Radius, it's just that. You can basically, let me go ahead and exit out here. It just means that you can say you want the results to show within a certain mileage of a certain area. So it could be like 10 miles from Grand Rapids or whatever you would like it to be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. All right, so now from the receiver standpoint, I'm just in here enjoying my time looking at the houses, telling myself ultimately which ones are my favorite, but ultimately it ends up telling my realtor which ones are my favorite by hearting them. And it's it. If they wanted to get more information, they would just hit save search. They can name the search. So now they could even say with condos, because remember the first one you sent them didn't have those condos, because now you're making this simple for them. So when they have a search result come to them, okay, look at this, they can choose, right? They can choose once per day, hourly, weekly, or never, okay? So if I'm gonna do this and it's gonna send it to me, now when I receive it, it's gonna say with condos, so I know which email is which search, which one is just residential, which is condos. This is gonna help clear the clutter, because I don't wanna have to look at 25 different emails each day. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. And I also want you to notice that note, look right here, homepage, about me, and more. So as the client, I'm just simply doing what I would do anyway and check for my house out, but I'm technically on my realtor's website. So I now can jump in here and I can see her blog, neighborhood news, all the different things about her website. I can go to her My About Me page here, which is going to feed in her testimonials as well. Or I can click on homepage and it takes me directly to her actual website homepage. You do not have this compatibility with the MLS. So please consider utilizing this product tool with your searches. That really increases your value and increases your ability to make more clients. So I'm gonna go ahead and go right back to where we were in Moxie Engage, take off the potential client hat here, and then we're going to put back on the realtor hat. So remember we did all those hearts that we had in here? When this syncs in here, it's gonna go under the faves area. So if she would have favorited or hearted or liked 5 of them, those 5 would show up right here when I clicked on it. It's gonna show up here as soon as it syncs here in a minute. The saves section are these searches that either we have created or that person created. So as you can see in here, this is the original one that Stephanie, the realtor, created, and then we sent it out to her. Every time we create a new one, because you can have as many as you need. And that's very realistic because maybe somebody wants to just look in Strongsville, but maybe somebody wants to look in Brunswick, but they don't want the 2 searches together. Or maybe they're just completely different searches and it just allows you to make as many as you wish. Let me go ahead and check my chat box. Then I'm going to show you how to create that search listing really quick. Okay, so the question is, may I specify a specific subdivision in Moxie for a search? So you would do that by utilizing that the Google map in there. You're not going to sit there and type in the subdivision name, but you'll be able to utilize Google Maps. Let me see if I've got it open here still. And you're just going to define it with that draw feature. So if there's a specific subdivision, let's say it's in here, because you're in Google, there's a plus and minus sign at the bottom. So it's interactive, just like you were. You can zoom in as far as you want to and use that draw feature and literally draw it around that specific area, that subdivision, and be as specific as you need to be, which is very, very nice. Great question. Okay, so now let me show you how to create the search. And when I tell you it's quick, I'm being honest. It's no different than if you make a search anywhere else, which is why it's easy. So what we're going to do is at the bottom right-hand corner, do you guys all see that plus saved search option? Bottom right, we're going to click on that. That just means we're adding a new saved search. Simplicity, maybe we don't know enough about this person yet, and we just have an idea of around the area in Strongsville they want to be. So I'm just going to put an address in that area, or just type in Strongsville, maybe. We don't know them yet, so we might be a little bit more vague, right? Instead of specific in the beginning. If you wanted to, you can put a specific zip code here, or just a city or a house, or be as general if you want. But here's where we're going to do exactly what they just did a minute ago for themselves. We're going to set our price point in here. So we're going to say in this area, 200,000 to 250. That's pretty, between 25 to 50,000 is pretty much the range there. So let's go ahead and hit apply. I'm going to dictate if I'm told How many beds and baths? We know we need at least 2. We need at least 2 baths. Hit apply. And then it's going to start filtering it down and narrowing it out. Okay. See how I have 8 listings? Well, I want to come into filters and I want to be real specific. Well, they're not going to want a farm and ranch. They don't want land or manufactured. They said no townhouse, no multifamily. So when I click on it, whatever is not blue is not selected. I can be as specific as I want here with square footage and the property information or the features. Keep in mind, the more specific you are in this market, the least amount of results you're going to get, right? Because things are flying off the shelf, basically. So if you find that you don't have any results or too few of results, you can come back in here, change them out as many times as you need to, and hit apply. So this has now created the search. If I wanted to be super specific for this lead or client, I would do what I already showed you. I would click here and do schools, or I would do the draw feature, multi-draw feature, or the radius feature. For right now, since I already showed you all those, I'm just going to show you that we'll quickly hit bottom right, email in settings. Okay, so what you have in the top on the left, that's the name of your search. Please note, this is what they will see when they receive it. So please be specific and also professional in this area. So in this particular one, if we just did Strongsville residentials, maybe I would just kind of take away the address here. And I would say for this particular person, and I would say Strongsville, and then you would type in residential. I like to be specific here because, again, as your conversation continues with these people, their search criteria might likely change. This helps to differentiate between your search results. You may keep the standardized message that's in here. If you'd like to, you can change it out. You can type more information in here, or you can highlight and delete what they have and add your own message. Down here at the bottom is the frequency in which they would receive it. So you're setting this up one time, but it's going to come at a cadence on your choice based off what you feel for that person. Hourly, I wouldn't recommend unless they're like needed to move like 3 months ago and they're ready to go and they ask you. They're going to feel probably harassed if you don't ask them first, if they don't really need it. Once per day is even much unless they're really needing to go today. If I'm the client or the person that put in 5 offers and I lost all 5, I want you to tell me once per day, every single day. I want to see what's new on the market. I don't want to wait a week. Okay. So that's for those people. Weekly is your standardized option now. I'm looking, I'm checking out the market. I'm not quite sure. And I haven't seen what I needed to yet. So that's pretty much, I would honestly say the standard of what goes out is weekly. This bottom option here, I gotta watch my time. This bottom option here, if I were to choose this one, it would actually, when I click it, it would send a message to this person when there are no listings that are new from the last time they looked. The reason I do this is to ensure to them I'm still doing my due diligence for them as a realtor. There just isn't anything on the market. So it's just going to send them a message saying there are no new listings at this time. That's all it is. Now I'm going to hit save and send on the bottom right and I'm done. Guys, that didn't take me much time at all. And by doing it in Engage, it did it through my website for me. And now I'm sending it out to the client. And again, I'm having them open it up on my website, which I'm getting more views and more search engine optimization, more points, more value. So I become more of a higher hit on Google. So this page is, my internet's taking a minute to load this page. So I apologize for that. As soon as it resets, we'll jump in and I'm going to start to show you neighborhood news and how to set that out really quickly. And then we're going to actually show you the sales flow. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to jump into my email and I'm going to show you again off the realtor end back into the sphere or the lead or the client hat here. We're going to go back into their email. I want to show you what something called neighborhood news is because it is a #1 generation of leads here for you. All right, if you send somebody something called neighborhood news, they receive it very simply like this. Here's my message from my realtor, Stephanie, neighborhood news. And it says for me, so it's personalized, simplistic in marketing, just like the other, one button to push, making it super easy. Here is the deal. Now I'm getting a report on my neighborhood. This is huge because sphere marketing means catering to anybody in a sphere. That doesn't mean you have to know them. It just has to mean they're within a certain area. This is relevant to everybody. And I would say most people are on neighborhood news within the company, all their clients or sphere people, because I care about what happens in my city, not even just my city. I care about what happens in my neighborhood and my zip code and my street, my community, my cul-de-sac all the time, more than anything else. I want to know what's happening to Betty Joe's house, two houses down, because even if I'm not selling today or buying today, it affects me and my property. But I also want to know just what's happening. This is live information directly from your website. Again, this is on your website, pulling from the MLS, so it's live feed. But let's take a quick peek. They're getting activity within the last, whatever day they choose. They can actually select the different time frames. So they're getting real market information, and they can forget what they hear on the TV. They're going to get the real facts here. There's also a built-in mortgage calculator to stimulate those who might be interested to figure out, maybe I like this house. What would it cost me to buy that house, right? Triggering that thought process, especially if somebody who might not have been ready to move because they didn't know they could afford it. Then it's going to show trends in the surrounding area. So it's giving them very specific trends in here. So they're looking at that pathway through the course of a year. Market changes from February to March, median prices. Okay, so you're seeing in here what's happening in that zip code, you guys. What's in Florida, what's in Michigan, Ohio, St. Croix, it's all different. But guess what? What's in Michigan in one community is different than what's in Michigan in a different community. So this is going to be specific to their neighborhood. That's why people who are not even ready to buy today are interested in neighborhood news and eventually convert over to a client with our agents, because this has been a source point of value to them without being anything evasive. Now on the bottom, there's also a form that they could fill out if they want more information. What this would do is it would actually take them and make them a client in your system, because this form is also, excuse me, this form is also available on your website. So they may not get it from you. They might actually get it directly on your website. If you saw when I was in Stephanie's, there was a neighborhood news button. If they would have pushed it, it would have let them put in their zip code and taken them here. And then they would have been able to fill out more information, and it would create them as a contact in the realtors Moxie Engage. It would alert them to reach out to this person. And then there you go. You got a new contact. Guess what? This is already done for you. It's already made for you. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just sign your people up to get it, because it's built into your website already. So I'm going to take you out of the client hat here and put you back in the realtor hat. We're back in Moxie Engage. If you take your eyes to the left panel, which we're almost done with, on the side it says subscriptions. Neighborhood news is right here. You can just click on where it says subscriptions. Oops, sorry. You can hit add, and then you would say add subscription, and then you would say quick. This is going to let you add them by zip code, and you just type in their zip code and hit done, and that's it. They get it. Or you can be very specific and custom target an area using that Google Maps search and the draw feature here. In our options yesterday, we showed you how to add 300 people at the same time to neighborhood news. If you need to have that information, you can access that on yesterday's training. So that's it for the left side. Now, I do know there's another class that's supposed to start in a couple minutes, but our Moxie system, our Zoom system wasn't working, so we are going to be a couple minutes behind. So I apologize to those, but this is a very important part that I want to make sure you guys see. What we're going to focus on right here is going to be the section that you work your actual sphere in. So Beth Glass. Now, I've already done this before, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unselect these just so you guys can see the full process. But I'm going to show you how quickly now it can run them from sphere, so just a potential lead, to somebody that is turning into a client, to working an actual client with a contract, and then completing and finishing the deal. Okay, so it's full circle right here in Moxie Engage. So the first thing I want you guys to see, okay, take a look at the top. 4 sections, 4 stages, 4 phases, 4 sales flows topics. Marketing, general sphere, right? Prospects are those who maybe open up the emails and start looking at what we send them. Actives are the ones who've actively said, okay, I'm ready to buy a house and I'd like to work with you. Pending are those who are actually working on a specific sale or purchase. Okay, so it works it for you in order of business. You can't get lost. You can't break it. It takes you where you need to go. Makes it great. So the first thing I want to point out is that every sphere phase has its own list of tasks assigned and associated with that particular type of person. So if we, let's say, mark this person a prospect, okay, we could stipulate that there may be a buyer prospect, and I'm going to hit done. And now all of the tasks for me in her profile very specifically are geared to go towards a buyer. But we're going to go backwards one because I want you guys to see very quickly how easy this is. Okay, bear with me just a second. I'm going to go back so you guys can see how quickly I can start from the beginning and go to the end. Now, you might not know if they're a buyer or a seller, right? You might not know that up front. So what it does is it gives you generalized sphere marketing. Send them a neighborhood news subscription. You could go ahead and do that neighborhood news subscription. And what it does is you hit done. And now it takes it away and puts it at the bottom. Basically, this is your task list. Everything that you need to move from one phase to the other. So to turn someone you're marketing to into a prospect, they're giving you those recommendations. If there's something you want to add, you can hit add task, and we go over that in part 1. However, once you are done with all of these, I'm going to fly through this because this is training, but let's say we did all of these things, right? We scheduled a meeting, we posted on social media, we mailed them a personal note, we did all these things. Well, what we're doing now is we're doing this conversation with them, or these contact points, and it's going to initiate a reaction from them. We're noticing inactivity, that they're receiving and opening and seeing what we have here. So that's going to alert me to contact them. And then we can, what we can do once we know that they're an active prospect is we now make this person a prospect. Okay. There's somebody that's a potential buyer. And if it's a seller, you would put seller and hit done. Very quickly here. Now all of my tasks are specifically relative to those prospects who are a potential buyer. So now I'm starting off with Beth, who I met at Starbucks. I only had her email. I used the task flow through marketing to run through those different tasks. It generated a response from her. We now have a potential prospect, as she is my potential prospect. Same concept. We're going to schedule a meet and greet. When we've done that meet and greet and conversated, we're going to go ahead and check that off. Now we know that they're going to be working with us to create a buyer's packet, presentation, etc. So once you get down here and you're done with this particular phase and they're active, right? They're ready. She's a buyer. We're looking at houses. We're specifically sending her those lists. We're going to move to the active zone, and it's going to gear this set of tasks to what we need to do to help somebody who is an active prospect convert into a deal, into a purchase price. So the first set here, I'm going to run through them real quick again, because this is self-explanatory once you get here and we're on a time crunch. Schedule a buyer's interview, prepare for the interview. I mean, it's very simplistic here and what it tells you to do. We're going to run through here and then look at what it does when we kind of get down here. Schedule a home tour. We're talking about what properties they're using my feed that I sent them through faves and saves. I'm seeing the activity. I see now the ones she's liked or favorited. Now we're going to set up a home tour of those properties. Forget the rest. So yes, we've done our home tour. Now, Beth, of the houses she saw one that she absolutely loved, right? So we're going to pretend like we did all of these already. We're going to create an offer, present an offer. We're going to pretend like we did all of the stuff. So now we're in the phase of her presenting an offer. So we're going to physically move to the pending zone. And now we're putting an offer on a house, and we don't have to know the closing date. This is going to change later. It has no relevance to anything. But we're just going to go ahead and put an approximate date if we had the offer selected from us. And here's the beauty of what I like. This is literally connected to the MLS. So what happens now is there is an MLS number associated to that particular property. When you type that MLS number in right here, so we're going to type one in for our area. Watch the cool stuff here. It will find it. I literally can click on it. It's now pulled all the information in for me from the MLS, which is amazing. Now I've got all the property information for the house that they're trying to buy. And now if you're in Michigan or Ohio and you're a Dot Loop user, watch how fast this is, okay? we're going to click on this little box. It says create a loop named Beth Glassfire. That's what my transaction was called, or my file was called. I'm going to say done. Okay. So we are putting an offer in, and we would have to do that in Dot Loop, right? So because we've connected or integrated it, we're going to say choose our profile. We're going to pick the correct one. And because this is a buyer transaction, we're actually going to say purchase loop template, create loop. We're almost done here. Thank you to those who just joined us to give us a minute or two. We had some issues with Zoom trying to get into this account, having the admissions come in. So we're just a couple minutes behind, but we appreciate your patience and your understanding. But for those still with us from Engage, we're almost finished. You can see now that we have a pending zone, and we have a property. This is the one that Beth wants to buy, this 13157 Prescott Lane. But what happened when we hit create a Dot Loop account? Check this out. See that? Right here. This is a new button or new option that wasn't here before. Now that I've connected it through the MLS, I'm going to click Dot Loop. Watch this. This is where it gets cool. Visit loop, and bam, it's now taking me to Dot Loop. It's logging me in as my company Dot Loop account. So in this role play, I'm in Stephanie's. It's created the transaction in general. So it created the loop, pulled in the contact information, pulled in that address information, the MLS information. And now, instead of having to go to Dot Loop outside of this, create it and add the information. And we would have had to add that stuff into view details. Now it pulls it in for me. And if you notice here, we told it what type of folder it was. It was a purchase. So it's connected to you through your DBA, meaning your office has your own folders, your own ABA, your own contract. It's going to connect you specifically to that office, to your office. And that exact purchase folder is going to be the one that your office uses. You're never worrying about having to use the wrong paperwork because it's only connecting you to the one that connected to your office, and it's here and ready to go. So from here, you're just going to run your sales flow like you would through Dot Loop. If you haven't done that training yet, please look at your local calendar for your region and see when your training is, but it's a great tool that's really intuitive as well. But the beauty here of that full circle moment that I wanted to really point out so we can finish up here, look at that. Zoom in here. Look at this integration between Dot Loop and Zillow. Now, I've done my work in Moxie Engage. It created the loop for me in Dot Loop, right? We're doing the transaction in Dot Loop, and when it's done, I would love to ask for a testimonial, but it's even easier when I click on Ask Zillow for a review. All you're going to do is you're going to link this to your Zillow account one time. And then after that, guess what? It sends an email to that client. So it would send it to Beth and say, would you like to send a review or put a review in here for your agent? It will then show up on Zillow reviews. And remember, let's go back into Engage here. Not only is it going to take a look at my top navigational panel, those reviews come in. They actually show up in Moxie Present and Moxie website. So it is a complete full circle situation. We've connected Zillow, we've connected Dot Loop. We work the order of business, and now Zillow and Dot Loop are working together to help and benefit you as a real estate agent. So that is how you take your client from sphere all the way to closed as well. And I'm going to go ahead on that note, just make sure there's no questions. There's another training that needs to start here because this was to start about 5 minutes ago. If you have any specific questions on Engage, please do ask me now, and feel free to ask me outside of this training as well. My email is elizabeth.glass@cbschmidtohio.com. Again, that's elizabeth.glass@cbschmidtohio.com. And I'm happy to help you at any time. Thank you so much also for all of the understanding and patience when you guys are having a hard time getting into the class today. We appreciate your time. On that note, I think we're going to flip over and talk about GSuite. Is this you today, Carrie?
Yep, absolutely. Thanks so much, Elizabeth.
Thanks, guys. And I'll keep recording this, and when she's set, we'll get this up on the video video classroom if you guys would want. I'm done talking, Carrie. I can't talk anymore.
Thank you, Elizabeth. 60 minutes or a little bit longer is tough to take. It's a lot.
It is. All right, guys. Thanks, guys, so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, hello everyone. I'm Carrie Scott, calling from the Traverse City office. We are talking about Google Workspace, which is previously known as GSuite. They have gone through a rebrand and they now call themselves Google Workspace. So these are things like your Gmail. This is your calendar, your Drive, where you can file your files away. It's also Hangouts, which is a lot like Zoom, but a little bit different. And then there's opportunity with your Google Chrome browser to do things that make your life easier, like save your passwords, have default tabs, that kind of thing. So the best part about Gmail, it is fully syndicated over to your Moxie sites. So you just had Elizabeth show you Moxie. So any contacts you put into your Gmail contacts do sync over to your Moxie as well. So it's really nice synergies between the two products. So if you are currently a Gmail user, if you use gmail.com, you can run both accounts simultaneously. We just have to get it set up correctly. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me pick the right screen. Here we go. So you're looking at my Gmail, which I just use Google Chrome, and I go to gmail.com and I log in. If you already have an account that is your name at gmail.com, you probably already logged into it, whether it's one that you had before you got into the business or before you came over to us, or a personal one that you use. You know that you're always in your Schmidt provided Gmail, whether it's CB Great Lakes, CB Schmidt Ohio, CB Sunstar, CB Paradise, if it's logoed in the upper right corner. If it's not, and it's just your name or your headshot or your initials or whatnot, that means it's your personal account. And in order to add to the account, you click on it in the upper right corner and you can say add another account. This will bring you to a login screen where you can log into your other account. So I was already logged into my work account, so I'm logging into my personal account. It'll also ask you if you want to add for your Google Chrome profile, and I don't, because my Google Chrome profile is my work profile. So you can see now in the upper right corner, the logo's gone. It's just my old headshot. And when you click in the upper right, you can see I can get back to my other my other account right there. Now, if people are sharing things with you, like a Google Sheet or a Google Word doc, and it's saying you can't get in, you most likely are logged into your wrong account. So you just want to make sure in the upper right corner, you click and toggle to make sure that you are in the correct account. If you want to sign out of all your accounts, you can do so from that drop down there as well. Now, the other headshot in the upper part is my Google Chrome browser, and this is where I'm logged in as my Google Chrome browser. So if you are running two different accounts, a personal gmail.com and then one of the Schmidt provided ones, I would highly recommend that you do go ahead and make that photo different, because that will allow you to discern which one you're in. So you can see this photo is different than this photo. That helps me really quickly just visually see which account I'm in, so I'll know if I'm in my correct account for what I'm trying to do or not. Same thing up here, you can add different accounts as well, but because of what we'll talk about in a little bit about your passwords and such being saved, I would highly recommend that you stick to one Google Chrome account and then just add the secondary account here. There's a lot of great ways to organize your inbox. We all know we get a ton of email, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do to organize your inbox. First of all, you can change how any and all of this looks. And you can do that right up here. You can make it so that there's a preview here. You can change it so it's how I like to see it, which is here. Or you can do it horizontal split, so your information shows up at the bottom. So a lot of people, if they're moving from Outlook or iMail, they say they don't like gmail.com because it doesn't look the same, but there's a lot of options to make it look the way that you want it to look. So that's a really good opportunity to change the view. Anytime you want to change how your settings are, you want to click on the cog right here. There's a few options in your quick settings. So I'm on the default. You can make comfortable, which gets rid of when and if there's an attachment, or compact, which really gives you a lot on one screen. So again, I prefer the default. So play around with them and see which one you like the best. Because I stare at my email all day long, I want it to be pretty, right? So you can choose different themes based on what you want to see when you log in. I like the default inbox top, but you do have the opportunity to have your important emails show up first, your unread emails show up first. When you star an email, you can have that show up first. So you have a lot of options on how you can view how your inbox looks. And again, just like we did up here with the quick toggle, you can toggle that here. Another thing a lot of people don't like about Gmail sometimes is what they call the conversation view. So I like my inbox, if I have a new email, I want it there. And then if I respond back, I want it in my sent. And if they respond back to me, I want it as a new line item in my inbox. Conversation view, if checked on, will condense all of the communication into one email. So say on Stacy's here, she emailed me, so I got it. I email her back. If she was to email me back again, it would show up in the original email. It would be bold as in on red, but it would show up with the rest of the conversation thread. And to me personally, it's just confusing. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't, but a lot of people don't know that you can toggle it off. And again, that's right here in conversation view. These are just quick settings. So again, when we clicked on the cog, this is what came up. You can click on see all settings. And there's a lot of different settings in here. The first general is pretty standard. You can do things like change your default text if you want to. You can do grammar suggestions on or off. You can have autocorrect on or off. A lot of different things. That conversation view is also here. It has nudges and such. If you forget to respond to email quite frequently, you might want to take a look at those opportunities there. You can toggle down. You can choose how many preset stars you want, and I'll show you the stars in a moment. This is where you can add your picture here in the About Me section. It links right there to you. And here's your signature. You can click Create New and create new signatures. If the marketing group has created a graphic signature for you, you can go ahead and set that in there. You can have multiple signatures. So if you have a big signature that you want on new emails and then maybe a truncated signature that goes out when you're replying, you have that opportunity there as well. Or you can create a signature right in here by using these opportunities in the text editor. You can do things like show indicator. So if it's one arrow, it's sent directly to me. And if it's multiple arrows, it means it was sent to other people. Let's see. Vacation responder, if you're able to take a little time off, you can set your vacation responder here. And then at the bottom, if you make any changes, there's saved changes. Labels are what Google calls folders. So Outlook, iMail, they all call them folders. Google calls them labels, but it's the exact same concept. And this is all of my labels or folders right here. So when I want to stay organized and I want to keep an email and not delete it, I go ahead and make sure that it gets put into one of my labels. You can, in the settings in labels, you can choose to show certain ones, you can create new ones, and you can change them around if you'd want to. You also have the opportunity to do from the left-hand side, when you click the three little dots next to the label name, you can do things like change the color. So maybe there's a label that you go back to a lot and you want to make sure it's really apparent. So you want to make that label red. You can see where it changed that red. So you have the opportunity to do that from the three little dots outside of the settings where it's the label. You can also do the same things that you can do with inside the Outlook, with inside the settings right here from the left-hand view of your labels or folders. You have further opportunity to customize your inbox from this from that folder option. You can also add other accounts. So you can see I have 3 accounts right here. So if somebody emails me at any of these 3, they all come into my same inbox. And then I have it set so that when I reply, it's going to reply from the main email address that I want to use, which is the Carrie@schmidthq.com. So you do have the opportunity, if you are utilizing more than one Gmail account, to be able to set it up into one view if you want to. We have filters and blocked addresses, which is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to use the Gmail, but you want to actually get that email somewhere else because you only want to log into one place and you don't want to set it up here, you can add a forwarding address. So if somebody emailed carrieLynnScomp@gmail.com, I could forward it over to Carrie@schmidthq and just get it in that inbox as well. And that's done right here from forwarding and POP. There's other options, but I'm not going to go into them because they get quite technical. And in order to operate Gmail, you don't really need to do that. But if you're interested in those, there is the opportunity to go through those settings as well. You can get to the themes from here, just like you did when you went to the cog. sorry, I'm already in the cog, when you went to the cog and got to themes right here. So a lot of different opportunities in order to customize how your inbox looks. Now I mentioned the stars, and you can see when you hover over these are not starred, but if I was to scroll down, hopefully I have one somewhere, you can see that star is yellow. A lot of times what I do is if I need to get back to an email, so I don't want to put it into a label yet because I want to keep it in my inbox, and you want to be able to get back to it quickly, you can star it. So not only is it visually showed up as starred when you scroll, if you come over here to the left and click on starred, it's going to bring up only those emails that have been starred. So it's a good way that I do in order to keep my inbox organized. And I can see some of these have been starred for a while and they didn't need to be. So you can always go through and unstar them as well. Like I mentioned, you can color code the labels. So let's see, let's pick one, for example, Coldwell Banker News. Coldwell Banker Blue makes sense to me. So you can go ahead and label that so that it shows up. Then what happens is when you're in here, if you go ahead and add it to that label, it's going to have that same color on the email. You can keep it in your inbox if you would like, or if you X out of the inbox, it's going to remove it from your inbox. So you won't see it here anymore. But when you go over to your label and click on it, you'll see it right here. You can always move it back to your inbox or to any other label that you want to as well. So you have a lot of opportunity in order to be able to organize, and visually too with all the colors. So you can see I have a lot of labels, but I've been operating this email for about 9 years now. So there's a lot of information in here because it came over when we switched over from Workspace. So that's why I have a lot of labels. But again, everybody's going to be different. And I do sub-labels as well. The labels do get alphabetized. That is how they show up in the order. So I have a little trick I like to do. If I have a folder I want to keep up at top and not necessarily fall into the alpha ordering, I go ahead and put a little star there. A little star, that little asterisk will make sure that it shows up at top and not necessarily get put into the alpha order. And so I'm not having to constantly scroll like this all the time. And I do apologize, I forgot to open my chat box. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. There we go. So again, the cog up here, you have your quick settings, or you can go to see all settings. And then you have the opportunity from the 3 little dots to go ahead and do things like colors. You can hide certain labels if you want. You can edit them so that you change the name. You can remove them, and you can add a sub label. Now, once you're in an email, up top are your options, plus you have options over here. And again, this will look a little bit different depending on what your main view is if you have a different toggle on over here. So if you want to reply, you can click reply right from this guy. You can star it when you're in the view, or again, just like anywhere in Google Workspace, when there's 3 little dots, you'll have a lot of options. So you can reply to all, forward, delete, anything you want, print right from here. You can also print from here. And then across the top are your options. You can archive it. You can mark it as spam. You can delete it. You can mark it as unread. You can snooze it, which you'll then be able to find in your snoozed file. So it'll come out of your inbox, but it'll stay in your snoozed file. You can add it to your task list. You can add a task list over to the right. I don't operate with one, but it is an option. You can move it. So you can move it to any of your folders. You can move it to spam or trash. Clicking spam here also will move it to your spam file. Or you can add a label to it from here. Again, 3 little dots, more opportunities. Mark as unread, not important, add a star. You can create an event right from here. And you can filter messages like this. So a lot of you get emails from your local MLS. Maybe it's information. Maybe you get emails from Amazon, whatever it might be. If you want to filter, it's a really good way that you can keep your inbox organized. If you have an assistant that you work with, that certain emails you want set automatically to them, you can do that in here as well. So say, for example, I want anything that comes from Indeed to be forwarded to a different individual. While I'm in the email, you can click up here in the search box. From the 3 little dots, you can do it that way, but you can do it right from the email. You click filter messages like this, it's from that person. You can click create filter, and then you have all of these options. You can automatically archive it. So maybe it's spam, junk email that you don't want to read. You can just go ahead and automatically archive it. You can star it. So maybe it's from a very important client at that particular moment and you don't want to miss any emails from them. You can automatically star it so it comes into your inbox with the star. Same concept as you can automatically put a label on it. Here's where you could forward it. You can always delete it as well. If you're struggling with a certain client's email address that's being sent to spam, even though you said it's not spam, you can set the filter so it never sends it to spam. So a lot of information like that. You can also choose, and it's like an out of office, but it will only go to those particular emails on which the filter is that you're setting. And then same thing with categories. You can categorize it so it goes to primary, social, updates, forums, or promotions. And then once you click create filter, whatever options you've chosen up here will occur to that email so that it does what you want it to do automatically without you having to go into each individual email and do it manually. The search bar up here is really great search. You can search for a name. So we'll just say a name and it'll pull up anything, not only from that person, but if that person was in the receiver list of an email you sent, or if they're in the body of the email, that will come up. You can search for an actual email address if you want, and same concept, anything from, to, or if that email address is included in the body of the email, it will come up. You can do things like words. So I've been recently planning a trip to Amelia Island, so you can do that. And you'll see all of those that come up. So it's a really nice feature. The search works really well. You can do things like change your time frame. You can change where it's searching as well. So when you drop that down, you can search in any of these options. So if you are looking for an email that you sent, you would choose sent. If you're trying to figure out, if you know who you sent it to and you're trying to find it, you can do that. Now, if you do delete an email, and again, you can do that from here, it does go to your trash. Your trash does empty out every 30 days. So really you want to make sure that you're putting it into a label if it's something that you want to keep and be able to get back to, because your trash will empty out. The other really nice thing about Gmail is you can schedule send emails. So some of us are night owls. Some of us are working at 7, 8 o'clock at night, but you don't necessarily want to send that to a staff member or a client, but you don't want to lose sight of the task at hand. So when you click compose, you can type out what you want. And then down at the bottom, when you click the down arrow, you can click scheduled send. It has these 3 options that come up, but you can pick your day and time also. So if you're using this to communicate, maybe you want to send out a personal note outside of Moxie for a house anniversary or something, you can at the beginning of the month set up the whole month and schedule send so that those will go out when you ask them to go out. The other really time saver here is your templates. So if you type the same email over and over again, you can set it up as a template. So for example, again, 3 little dots and templates. I have all of these set up as templates. So every week I schedule the leadership team meetings. So I have that set as a template. So you can see it automatically will put in, and I didn't have my cursor in the right spot. It automatically will put in anything I have saved as a template. So say you, I'm typing a template. And then what you want to do is delete your signature, because every new email you open up already puts a signature in. So the first time when you save it as a template, you want to delete that signature. Go ahead and click the 3 little dots, templates, scroll to the bottom, save draft as template. You can overwrite one of the ones that you want or save as new. And I'm just going to say it's testing. So now when you go to compose a new email, you come down to the lower right, go to your templates, click the one that you want, and it automatically will put in your subject and it'll put in the body of the email that you want to send out. It does not save recipients. So you cannot set up a template that will also then save your recipients, but it will save the subject and it will save the body of the email. Again, in Compose, that's in the 3 little dots in templates. You can also delete them out if you don't use them. So say you're working on a project and you're sending the same type of email out to multiple people, so you want it as a template, but that project or whatnot gets done, then you can go ahead and delete it after the fact. One second. We're having a little bit of a problem with a website that we're trying to get fixed. You can also do things in the body of your email, from down here. So you can change your font. You can change how big it is. You can make it bold, italicized, underline. You can change not only the text color, but you can change the highlight color. So that makes it look like you have a highlighter when you do it that way. You can see how that did that with my name. You can change your alignment. You can do numbers and bullets, a lot of different things that you can do here. You can add attachments from here. You can insert links. We have our great emojis now, which can be fun if you're trying to bring a little bit of fun into your work emails. You can insert a file using Drive, and we'll talk about Drive in a moment. You can also insert photos here as well. Confidential mode, I've not really used myself, but it will let the person on the other end know that you're sending it confidentially. And then if you don't have your signature up here, or if you don't have it set to automatically pull in, so you want to add it every single time. It's not popped. Oh, it popped up behind me. It'll take you here. So just like what we were in our settings, it takes you right back to here so you can create new ones. So again, in the Compose, there's a lot of different options. So sometimes people are like, hey, I sent you an email, and you're like, wow, I really can't find that. The best place to check is if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and again, your list won't be as long as mine unless you have as many as I do. Click more and go to your spam. You always want to check your spam if somebody said they sent you something, but you're not seeing it. Gmail also thinks they're really smart and would like to categorize things for you. So sometimes they'll categorize things into different opportunities. If you're operating a gmail.com, those tend to show up at the top, but in here they will show up under more. So if you're not seeing what you need to see, scroll to the end of your folder list and click more, and know that there's other opportunities to see things in that view down there. We use a lot of chat because it's just a really fast, easy way to connect with people. So you can choose to use chat as well. When you do the search functionality, that search functionality searches not only your email addresses, but also the chat. So it can be a really nice way to keep all of your information in one platform. So let's talk about calendars now. So I see I have more than one inbox open because of all my clicking. So let's get back to here. Anytime you see what they call the waffle, these 9 little dots, that's a menu item. So when you click on that, you'll see that you can get to all the other Google information. The calendar, the drive, your contacts. The contacts is a big one because in Outlook or iMail or some of the older email servers, contacts are embedded right into your email. But in here, you click the waffle, click contacts, and that will pull up your contact list. It's the same spot that you can get to your calendar. So just like with the inbox, you have a lot of different ways that you can customize the view. I like this view. I run Sunday through Saturday. I have a lot of my color coding from my different calendars, but you can change how you view it. You can view your day. You can view your week. You can view a month. If you want to get super cuckoo crazy, you can view the year as well. You also have a schedule that you can set to so that you have this view, or you can do 4 days at a time. So lots of different opportunities. Just like with anything else in Gmail, if it's 3 little dots or the cog, you have more settings. So you can go into settings, and this will give you can change time zones. You can set working hours if you want to. You can add events from your Gmail. You can add different calendars. So you can see I operate quite a few different calendars, and I do have them color coded. And that is again from the cog. So you do have a search feature in here too, just like you do in the email. So this is going to search events. So somebody asked me the other day when Tom's birthday is, so I came in here and typed it in. And since 2019, I've had it in here, and then it does show you forward into the future. So the search functionality is nice. If you think, oh, I know I scheduled that showing, but I don't know where it's at and I can't quickly find it, you can go ahead and type in things like showing, and any time that you had a showing, they show up. Now, this gold color here tells me this is my family calendar, and my husband is actually a licensed realtor, so that's why I have showings on my calendar. I myself don't go on showings. I am not licensed, but that gives me the opportunity that we can see each other's schedule so that we can stay organized. So you can see you have all these calendars. Now you can be a member of somebody's calendar if they've invited you, but not have them in your view. So if it gets a little crazy, like mine tends to get, and you want to uncheck something, you can uncheck it and it's still there. You can still get to it and view it, but it's not going to show up in your view. This calendar fully syncs over to Moxie Engage. So when you're in Moxie Engage on the dashboard, it will sync over these events as well. So it can be a really nice opportunity to keep organized. To create a new calendar event from here, in the upper left, you click create, and you can do event, focus time, out of office, a task, or the newest thing is appointment slots. Now you do have to have the business version of Workspace to have the appointment slots. So if it's something you're interested in and you don't have it, just feel free to reach out. But to do a standard event, you click on create event. It's going to pull up the quick view. You can go into more options. You can set your day and time here. You can do all day if you want to. You can do repeat. So say that you have a weekly sales meeting and it's every Tuesday and it's from 8:30 to 9:30, and you can do repeat. You can do it daily. So maybe you do a daily affirmation or a daily journal entry that you want to make sure that's on your calendars to keep you accountable. You can choose daily. You can do weekly, monthly, annually, every weekday, or you can do a custom. So you have a lot of opportunities here to make sure that you keep this on your calendar. You can add guests. You can add guests from inside our organization. You can add guests from outside the organization as well. It will prompt you when you go to send it if you really want to do it, but you can do it. Anytime you add an additional guest, it automatically will set up a Google Meet. So if it's an in-person, and again, this is just one of those things that came out of COVID, if it's an in-person meeting, it will automatically add it. So you want to just make sure you exit out. So again, you can add it if you want. If you don't want it because it's going to be in person, just click the X. I like to email myself a notification at a certain point before the meeting occurs so that I don't lose track of it, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can choose which calendar to put it on. So maybe I want it on my calendar, or maybe I do want it on my family calendar. So you have the opportunity on which calendar you want to put it on. And then you can type down information for yourself here. And then once you click save, that will go on your calendar. Now say that you, maybe you have 3 different things coming up and they're all similar, but they're not the exact same events. You can duplicate that and then it pulls in all the information, but then you can just maybe change the time. So maybe your son has soccer practice every Thursday, or not every Thursday, but he has soccer practice on Thursday and then again on Saturday and then again on Tuesday. You can duplicate those events so that you're not starting from scratch every single time. And again, you can do that without fully opening it by clicking the 3 little dots and clicking duplicate. If you're trying to see availability for anybody inside the Schmidt organization that's using their calendars, you have that opportunity from over here. It says meet with, and then it gives you the opportunity to search for people. So when I pull up Paul, who's our system administrator, you'll see that his calendar showed up to me in this grayish color. Now, because I am the super admin on the Google account, I see the actual words. Anybody else will only be able to see that it's busy. It'll just say busy. So if you're trying to schedule an appointment with your ASC, you come in here and type in their name. You're going to see anytime on this particular person's calendar and it will just say busy. But again, I see the words because of just the status my account has. So that can be really nice if you're trying to schedule a time with your manager or with your ASC or with another realtor that's operating a calendar. Again, it's only the calendar inside Schmidt and won't work for other kinds of calendars if they're using iCal or if they're using a gmail.com as opposed to our Schmidt accounts, then it won't work. but it can be a really nice feature because we all know scheduling is super hard to do a lot of times with different people. And then in order to color code or share, oops, I clicked in the spot. You can come over here to the left where it says My Calendars, click on those three little dots that we've come to know. You can change the color right from here. You can go to Settings and Sharing, and then you can also rename it if you want to. You can give it a description. You can make available to public. So maybe you're helping out with your PTO or at your church or something and you're running a calendar for them. You can make it available to the public so that people outside of being logged into our firm can view those. So that is an opportunity there. You can add people. So say that you're working with a co-realtor or you want to share your showing schedule with a staff member, you can add them right from here and you can give them the opportunity to only see Free and Busy, to see all event details, or to make changes. So if you're working with an assistant or such, it would be nice to make them make changes so they can keep your calendar updated for you. You can set standard notifications. So every single time I add anything to my calendar, I get an email 10 minutes ahead of time. And instead of having to set that up individually on each calendar invite that I set up, I have it set up right here so it does it on all of them. You also have the opportunity for other notifications. And then it does give you public information if you're trying to run a calendar. So for example, our Schmidt education calendar. This is the public version of our calendar. So on this end, this is what it will look like for anybody viewing it. And on my end, oops, because I have it actually as a calendar, the events show up just like it would all my other ones, but it's the exact same calendar that shows up here. So if you are running a calendar for a group of people or such, that is where you have the opportunity to do it. Three little dots, setting and sharing, make available to public, and then you can use that public URL to the calendar. There's also an embed code, gets a little bit fancier, but if you're running an events calendar or something and want to include it in your Moxie site, that is an opportunity as well. You can always delete the calendar from the settings as well here. We'll check for questions. I don't see any. Take a sip of tea. And then we'll move on to Drive. So if you've used Dropbox in the past or FileStream or OneDrive, it's all the same concept. It's cloud-based storage. So in my three little dots again, I'm going to click on Drive. This will look a lot like what it looks like in a Finder or Windows Explorer. I run a Mac, so it's going to look a little different if you're used to PCs. But this is what Mac calls a Finder or what a PC would call Windows Explorer, and all of your folders show up here. Well, when you're in Google Drive online, it works the same way. The number one reason why I truly love this product is because whether I'm on my computer, I'm logged into my phone, I'm logged into somebody else's computer, as long as I'm logged in as my Gmail, which you can see in the upper right corner, I am, because my headshot and my logo are there, I can get to any and all of my files. So I don't have to worry about my computer crashing and me losing all my work. As long as it's saved in the drive, I can get to it anywhere in the world with internet access, as long as you remember your password. And if you forget yours, don't sweat it, we can reset it for you. We don't know what it is, but we can reset it for you. So that's why I like saving things in Drive. It's also highly searchable. So if you're looking for a folder, whatever it might be, you can type that in. It's going to pull up all the information for you. It's going to let you choose, well, I know it's a Word document, or I know it's a Google Sheet, or I know it's a PDF. So you can search just those things. So the search features on Drive are really nice, and you can stay super organized. We do a lot of sharing of information inside the company because it makes it more secure. So the way that we have it set up is we make sure that we put a caution if you're sharing outside of the Schmidt family of companies. We do allow it, but we do make sure that it is set so that you understand you're sharing that data outside of the company. So we rely heavily on the Google Workspace security to make sure that our data stays safe. Anytime you see a little toggle bogglehead on anything, that means that document or that folder is shared with other people. So for example, let me find a good example. Right here, you'll see that this folder is shared. This folder is not shared. So this content is only going to be available for me in my drive. It's not going to be available for others unless I share it. This one already is shared. So when you click on it, that bobblehead comes up here. And when you click on that, it'll tell you who you shared it with. Now I've shared it with anybody that has that link inside the Schmidt family of companies. So anybody I send that link to will be able to access that data. Anybody outside the Schmidt family of companies would not. You can individually add people by starting to type in their name, and if they're in your contact list, they'll come up. Editor allows them to organize, add, and edit files. You can make them a commenter, so they can actually put comments on the documents, or just a straight up viewer. So if you're wanting to send content out to clients, but you don't want them to be able to update or change anything, you can still share it to them, but you can share it to them as a viewer, as opposed to an editor. You can also type a nice note in here. So you're not worrying about opening up your email, creating a new email, typing in the body, and then attaching anything. You can do it right here from Google Drive. To go back a step to find a folder that doesn't have any share on it, when you click on it, you can click on the down arrow and you can click with share. So you can share directly from here, just like the last window looked, or you can get a link. You can also, if something was shared to you, so you're not the owner, but somebody shared it to you, you'll want to go ahead and add a shortcut to your drive so that you know how to get back to it. So that you can make sure that you have it in your drive organized the way that you want it. You can move things here. You can also, just like in the email, you can star things so that they'll show up when you're filtering through starred. And just like anywhere else in Google on calendars and emails, you can also make these different colors. So again, we're in our waffle and we're in Drive. You can do things like make things top priority, so you can see that. If somebody shared something with you and you haven't had the opportunity to save a link in your drive and you just can't find it, when you click on shared with me, this is only information that other people own. You can see who shared it, but they've shared it with you, so you can, it's a different way to filter your view so that you can get back to where you want to go. Same opportunity with recent. Well, my ASC just sent me the floor schedule in Excel and I can't find it, I can't get back to it. If you go to recent, it's going to pull up any of the recent documents that you were working with in the Google world, as long as you open them in Drive. If you need a new folder, click on new. And there's a couple of options, what you want, a new folder, maybe you want to do a Google Doc, you can get to there from here. You can also get to those things from your waffle over here. And I did forget to mention prior, in the waffle, these are customizable. So if you've been through training for CV Desk, it works the same way. Anything that you want to be able to readily get back to, you can go ahead and move around so that it's user-friendly for yourself. Maybe you never ever use Hangouts, so you want to move that to the bottom, but you use Meet all the time, so you want to move that to the top. So all of these are customizable that you can drop and drag. Okay, contacts. We talked about them a little bit early on because we did say how they sync over to your Moxie, which is amazing. You can do things from here like create contact. You can create one individually. You just fill out the information. Or if you want to create multiple contacts, you can import from a CSV file, which is a really nice way to get all of your contacts into Google Contacts, and then they'll sync over to your Moxie. And again, just like in the inbox, you can label all of these so that you can make groups. So my Moxie team label has all of our great trainers that are members of the team. And then when I go to compose an email, if I start typing Moxie team, my group will come up and insert all of those people. So these groups will also sync over to Moxie. So if you're wanting to send a newsletter or neighborhood news or a campaign, your groups are going to come over from your Google Contacts. So once you get organized here, it'll also organize you over on the Moxie Engage site as well. If you are doing an import and you have a lot of duplicates, there is a really great merge and fix feature with Google Contacts. And I probably shouldn't have clicked that because I didn't realize I had so many, but it will let you go through and deduplicate any of your contacts so that you can stay super clean and keep your contacts, your sphere of influence all organized. Hangouts can be done a couple different ways. So you can do them from the waffle and click on Hangouts. I've probably slowed my system up here. Okay. So you can go ahead and do it that way. You can add people to there as well. If you want to start a Google Meet, you click back into here and click on Meet. It'll pull up anything that you have that's in your calendar. You can do a new meeting as well. From your calendar, like I mentioned, anytime that you do a new calendar and you add at least one person, it automatically will put your Google Meet here. So if you're operating your calendar, you're like, oh, I have a meeting coming up, I need to get into the Meet. You just click on that, join with Google Meet. It pulls up your camera, just like what we have going on here with Zoom. And then you can click Join Now. I think Google Meets are a lot easier to use than some of the other products. So if you're trying to set up a virtual meeting, obviously Zoom is an option as well, but you can go ahead and use Google Meets as part of your Google Workspace account that you have with us. Yes, I can go over how to create a group. Sorry about that. So again, we're going to go back to Google Contacts. So we're going to go into our waffle and go into Contacts. So the groups are called labels, just like the files are called labels. So if you have a current one, you can click on the pencil to edit it. You can click on the trash can to delete it, or if you click on it, it will pull it up here. So to create a group, you won't have as many probably, so you may see it on your first screen, but you do want to scroll down to the end of whatever your list looks like and click Create Label. You want to name it and click Save. Now that's an option in here. So now you find the people that you want to put into that label. Click the three little dots, and then you can put them into more than one label at a time. I believe I named it Testing, so keep scrolling. Click it, and you'll see that it gives it the blue checkbox. Anywhere you click off, it's going to give that label right up here into this person. So again, you want to go into Contacts, scroll down to where it says Create Label, create the label first, and then start adding people to it. And you do that by searching for your contact, clicking the three dots, finding that person, and then it'll label it. Now, if you are importing a contact, you can import it into a label on the front end. So say you have 50 people from your child's PTO contact list that you want to put in. Well, you can create the new label this way so that it's here, and you'll see it changed it to PTO. And then when you import from your file, they're automatically going to be imported with that label. So that can be a much easier, faster way to put that label on a bunch of people at the same time. Now, if you already have them as a contact in your file, in your Google Contacts, that's where that merge and fix will come in handy. Oh, good, you found it. Okay. Yeah, you just kind of have to scroll down, and then it should be right here, right before you get to your import export. So you can import, like I mentioned, from Create Contact and Create Multiple. It's also an option down here where it says Import. You can also export your contacts. So if you want to upload them into a different product outside of Moxie, because we know Moxie syncs automatically, you can do an export of your contacts. You can export just certain labels. So say that you're working a neighborhood with maybe somebody else in your office, and you have that neighborhood set up in your contact list, and you don't want to share all your contacts with this other person, but you do want to send on that particular list. You can do that by just choosing that list. And then you have the opportunity to export into Google, Outlook, or vCard, which is for iOS, iPhone users. And then click Export, and it will download that file for you onto your system. We got about 11 minutes left, and I just have one more topic. So again, keep your questions coming if you have any. I get myself lost in tabs sometimes, so I'll clean that up real quick. I also forgot to mention, which just reminded me, outside of deleting from inside the email, which we talked about you can also check mark the ones that you want and then click delete from this view. And then that's how you can quickly delete more than one email, should you want to. So when we first started talking, we talked about how you can have more than one account. You can have more than one Gmail account open, one more Google Workspace account open, but you also have the opportunity for your browser. Now, I would be lost without my Google Chrome browser because not only does it save all my passwords, it saves all my tabs because I revert back to a lot of tabs throughout the day. And if I close the tab, sometimes I forget to do something. So I like all my tabs open. Now, we all know sometimes we have to close our browsers for updates. Sometimes our systems will go down if we forget to plug in. Sometimes we just accidentally close the window. So to do that and to have to reopen all of these tabs would be a bummer, but you can set the system up one of two ways. So we're going to do this by going up in the upper right, not this headshot, which is our account. We want our Google Chrome account, not our Gmail account. So upper right corner, and if you don't see your picture there, you're not logged into Google Chrome and you would want to go ahead and do so. And you can do so by clicking add. So from here, I want to click on manage your Google account. And then, I'm sorry, I did not want to click on that. We're going to go back. We're going to click on our headshot and we're going to click on the little key right here. This is my Google Chrome settings. So if it's not already your default browser, you can do that here. And then in passwords, it'll always ask you if you want to save your password. Anytime you enter a new password on a new site in the upper right corner, go ahead and do that. Then you don't have to try to remember all of your passwords. Not only will it autofill them for you, but you can always come back here and search for what that password might be. So say I need to get into my CB desk, which is actually active. You can come in here, see what your username is, and then when you click on the eyeball, you do have to put in your system password, which is just that extra level of security. It'll show you what that password is. And again, it also will keep them saved into here. So you can see this username popped up here. My password's already in there, so I don't have to try to remember it. I operate a lot of different usernames for CB Desk, so I can always toggle back and forth. And when I do, it's going to pull in that exact correct password. So it's really good to save your passwords into your browser. Same thing with your Google Drive. If your system's down and you're logged into your husband's, your wife's, or your son's, or your daughter's, and as long as you're logged into your Google Chrome, all your passwords will come in for you. So it's a really good way to stay organized and stay able to access your data. Now, when I mentioned about all the different tabs, that option is right here. It says on startup. So you can choose to open the new tab page, which will look just like an incognito page. So it's brand new, no tabs are open. You can choose to continue where you left off. So anytime you reopen, if you want your last set of tabs to open, you can do that. Or you can open a specific page or set of pages. So this is where you can keep all your pages open that you want. You can always add a new page to here, or you can use current pages. So I'm going to go ahead and use current pages. And then I'm going to click out and back in because I don't want to mess this up. So it's set to use current pages. So now when I close my browser and I reopen a new one, let's get out of there completely. It's going to open up all the same tabs that I had open prior to shutting it. So this is how I keep myself organized. So if you're a Google Chrome user and you like your tabs, again, in the upper right, upper right, again, we're not into this account here. We're into the upper account. If you click on the little password thing and go to on startup, you can choose to open a new tab always, continue where you left off, or again, a specific set of tabs that you want to open. So it's a really good opportunity to keep organized. The other opportunity that you have from here is manage your Google account. So you can do things here like privacy and personalization. You can update your personal information. You can go into your security tab. You can update your password, your two-step verification if you choose to use that. You can change how you interact with people and how you look on different Google services. And you shouldn't have to worry about this payment and subscription because we do offer this to you as part of the Schmidt family of companies offering. Now, if you do have different subscriptions like YouTube or something outside of the Google Workspace account that we offer, then you can get to your payment and subscription options from here. And again, we're in the head here, manage your Google account. I'm just checking my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything, and I didn't. So we have 5 minutes left. If there's any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box or go ahead and unmute and let me know. Per Elizabeth's notes, she will get this recording up in Schmidt Video Classroom after the fact. If you've not been there, I highly recommend it, schmidtvideoclassroom.com. In our playlists, we have our commercial real estate training. We have Discover the Schmidt Difference, which is where you'll find today's recording here. We have a lot of our Moxie training. We have our long form and our Moxie Monday. We have JD's social media tips here. We have a lot of great information that we train our staff on, which is also useful to a lot of our agents in our Blue Sync. So we have a lot of different opportunities on Schmidt Video Classroom for you guys to go back and view your recordings. And I don't see any further questions. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. Make sure you check your education calendars for the next session. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your ASCs, your RSCs, Elizabeth, or myself, and we'll be sure to get you the answers that you need. Thanks you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.